I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, not since I was 10.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Come on to the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
Welcome back to Movie Mingle. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we're on episode 39, and we're doing Inglourious Basterds.
Bum, bum, bum.
The 2009 movie from Quentin Tarantino, starring Brad Pitt and a bunch of awesome people.
Yeah, it's one hell of a cast. It's one hell of a cast.
One hell of a cast.
Yeah.
Inglourious Basterds was also written by Quentin Tarantino, and the music was, well, Quentin Tarantino's music.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
essentially.
He didn't do the score. It's just that it's very Quentin Tarantino-y.
It's his, a bunch of soundtracks, a bunch of needle drops.
Yeah.
They sound like because you've never heard them before, but they sound familiar in that kind of
Quentin Tarantino way.
David Bowie has a track from Cat People. Yeah, I never watched Cat People, but that's where that, the one song in this movie that has lyrics, David Bowie's Cat People.
He does like to use anachronistic music for his stuff. Like, obviously, a David Bowie song playing in a movie about World War II doesn't fit exactly, but, you know, Taika Waititi did it too, so it's all fair these days, especially when it's make-believe history, which is what this movie is.
It's true, yeah. Speaking of make-believe history, this is Once Upon a Time in Nazi Germany. Did it say Nazi Germany or Nazi-occupied France? Maybe Nazi Germany. But it did start with the title Once Upon a Time, just like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I really hope he does a third Once Upon a Time movie.
I mean, I do enjoy his take on history. I do enjoy watching the bad people of history get massacred. You know, it's thoroughly enjoyable, I should say.
The cinematography was done by Robert Richardson, which we talked about in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's been Tarantino's cinematographer since Kill Bill. I really like the look of this movie. It's got that World War II look to it, but also still very much Tarantino's world. So yeah, we had talked about him when we did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's worked on movies like Platoon, Wall Street, Few Good Men. Directors like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese have been passing him around back and forth with a lot of their films. But Inglourious Basterds is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. It has an 89% from critics and an 88% from audiences. So another one of those movies that both critics and audiences seem to pretty much agree on.
I mean, who doesn't enjoy watching Hitler get killed to death? Who doesn't fucking enjoy the build-up to this, you know, climactic scene is one thing, and it's a lot, and it's a very anxious movie. I had anxiety the entire time watching it because it's just a lot of very tense conversations where you know everything, but the characters don't know everything, but because you know everything, it's real like, ugh.
Yeah, you're waiting for when's the moment somebody's going to find out something.
When's the fuck up? But watching Hitler get killed to death is...
to death.
Anytime you get to watch a Nazi get killed, that's a good time. If it was good enough for Indiana Jones, god damn it, it's good enough for me.
You know, yeah, a lot of World War II movies, they're very serious. Sure, watching Nazis die is great, but a lot of times the tone is still very serious. But when you have movies like two Indiana Jones movies, a movie like this, that really makes it fun to go along with the group.
Yeah.
Like that opening scene where not the first time you meet the bastards.
Yeah.
But like when you first meet them and they've rounded up 3 soldiers, that whole scene, that was fun.
It's fucking fun. It's fun to watch Eli Roth beat the shit out of Nazis.
Yes.
And he's never looked hotter doing it or anything else. Like
the Bear Jew.
That is the hottest that Eli Roth has ever looked in his life, is bashing the head of a Nazi in with a baseball bat.
Absolutely.
Like, my God. And then, like, he's so hot. And then he comes out with that awful Boston accent. And you're just like, nope, would still smash. Yeah.
It was made for $70 million. And it made 120 domestic,
Okay.
196 internationally,
Cool.
and another 99 on home media.
Yeah.
90. Once again, we got another movie that made back the budget just from home media. But that's a total of $415 million.
Which is great. And well deserved. I mean, this isn't my particular favorite Tarantino movie, but I don't dislike it by any means.
We got 9 movies
yeah.
to choose from. It's not going to...
Yeah, it's not my top.
It's
but
not the top. It might be in the top 5 for me.
Yeah?
I think I've made a list, of course, on Letterboxd of my top Tarantino. I think I've talked about it before. So currently, and it always changes, but currently Inglourious Basterds is my number 5 movie on his list. And I put it above Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah, which...
Would you re-rank that now?
I probably would re-rank that now after just watching both of these movies again.
What's your favorite?
Between those two?
No, between of all of them. What's the top?
Kill Bill.
No. Yeah.
I've got Kill Bill as 1, Jackie Brown as 2, which I think Jackie Brown is underrated when it comes into Tarantino
I haven't
conversations.
seen Jackie Brown in years, and it's a masterpiece. If I were to rank them right now, I would probably put Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at 1 and Jackie Brown at 2, even though I haven't seen it in a decade.
Yeah.
Easily.
Django I've got at 3, Pulp Fiction at 4, then Inglourious Basterds, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But yeah, I'd probably move a few things around now that I've seen
Them more recently.
Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Basterds, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood recently. We still have Django and Kill Bill to watch on this list.
Yes, we do.
So
It's just Kill Bill 1, right?
it is technically just Kill Bill 1.
Yeah. Are we going to watch both?
Tarantino, we don't have to, unless you want to.
Yeah.
But we don't.
It's been a
we may not
long
take
time
notes for
since
2.
I've seen Kill
We'll
Bill
do it the
2.
way we did with
Dune.
Dune.
Yeah, probably. Just do an all-day Kill Bill sesh.
Tarantino counts it as one movie because he made it as one movie and the studio made him split it. Tarantino movies are fun. What can I say?
Yeah, they are. They're entertaining, at the very least.
Inglourious Basterds did win 134 awards, including 1 Oscar. It was nominated for 8 Oscars. Christoph Waltz was the won Best Supporting Actor.
Well deserved.
I remember watching that Oscars, watching him win. I was so happy that he did because I loved his character. I loved his acting. His character's a piece of shit, but I loved watching his acting in this movie. This movie introduced me to Christoph Waltz. I had no idea who he was before this movie. And then he does even better in Django.
Yeah, he's fantastic in Django. I look forward to watching that movie again. It's coming up fairly soon, right?
Within the next
10 or so.
Christoph Waltz was up against some interesting lineup that year. You had Matt Damon nominated for Invictus, Woody Harrelson in The Messenger, Christopher Plummer in The Last Station, Stanley Tucci in The Lovely Bones, and he won for Best Supporting Actor that year.
What are you doing, Cat? God.
Jeez, what is this?
I don't know.
It was also nominated for Best Picture, but lost to The Hurt Locker. Quentin Tarantino was nominated for Best Director, but it went to Catherine Bigelow for The Hurt Locker. Quentin Tarantino was also nominated for Best Original Screenplay, which went to The Hurt Locker. It was nominated for Best Cinematography, but it went to Avatar.
Yeah, which...
And
it's easy to be a cinematographer when you're just
and its last 3
doing it all on computers.
Its last 3 nominations were sound and editing, and they lost them to The Hurt Locker.
Oh, okay. So, and I've still never seen The Hurt Locker. Like, not one. I know Jeremy Renner's in it, and that's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it once.
Yeah.
It was a movie. It had Jeremy Renner in it. That's all I remember. So the cast.
The cast is pretty spectacular.
Brad Pitt.
Yep.
I don't think I have to talk about who Brad Pitt is.
No, he's done a thing or two.
He's been in 1 or 2 movies that have been so-so. You have Diane Kruger, who I also don't think I knew before
She
movie?
was Helen of Troy in Troy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I did watch that. Yeah, I recently watched Troy not that long ago, and I
Really?
do remember liking it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's
I saw that movie for the first time in a Swiss cinema.
oh,
Yeah. It was in English, but there were Swiss or German subtitles at the bottom of the screen. And I have seen it once or twice since it came out in theater. But I haven't seen it in a very long time.
another movie also has Brad Pitt in it.
Orlando Bloom and
Yep.
Eric Bana. I mean, a bangable cast for sure, but
She was also in National Treasure with Nicolas Cage.
which I've never actually seen.
Which is another movie that I could sit down just in the middle of. Like, it could be on TV in the
No
middle
matter
of the
what,
movie.
no matter what time, you're like,
Yeah,
well,
I'm going to finish this
National
because
Treasure's on.
it's dumb and fun.
Yeah, again, I haven't
That's all right.
haven't seen it.
We got Eli Roth as the Bear Jew.
Oh, fucking
And-
so hot, even with that terrible Boston accent. Because it's not just I mean, he leans hard into sounding like a proper masshole. Like, it was a choice to give him that much of a Bostonian accent. But it does not stop how hot he is. Like, Jesus Christ.
I have to say, in our Abigail episode, I have to correct myself. We had mentioned Eli Roth in that episode, and I had said he directed
Human Centipede.
Human Centipede, and that is not correct. He directed Hostel.
Yeah.
That was his big one.
Sometimes when you're going fast on these things, we trip up, and what are you going to do?
Yeah. He also did Hostel 2. He also did The Green Inferno, which that's what brought the conversation up about how some horror movies are just too realistic, like The Green Inferno. And then you have Thanksgiving, which was a movie he did. It was another horror film, which I heard good things about. Never got around to watching it, but it was based off of a fake trailer that he made for the Grindhouse movies that Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did. The Grindhouse movies had a couple fake trailers before, and Thanksgiving was one of them. And so he took that idea from that short
I
film
remember when
he
that
did.
came out. How did it do?
I mean, it was in and out of theaters quickly. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
It got a 6.2 out of 10 with IMDb. The first Hostel movie only got a 5.9, and it's regarded as a pretty decent horror film. Same thing. He also did Cabin Fever. That movie.
I remember Cabin Fever being a big thing.
I remember that one. Eli Roth also directed the short film in this movie, Nation's Pride.
Oh yeah, you were gonna make me watch that, and we never got around to it.
We never got around to it, but
Bummer.
if anybody out there has the Inglourious Basterds DVD like I do, you can watch the entire short film from beginning to end. It's only like a 6-minute film.
We did we did have to throw in the hard copy of this
It's
DVD because it's not streaming
not
anywhere.
streaming anywhere.
So once again, physical media wins the day.
And unfortunately, he also directed Borderlands.
You hated that film so much.
My son loved it
Yeah.
and probably would like to watch it again. I did not care for it at all.
I didn't hear a single good thing about that movie.
No.
Like, it had, that first trailer had so much good, like, just goodness to it. Like, there was so much, not good press, but just good, like, intentions and good reactions. People are like,
It was a really good trailer.
Like, this is a good trailer. Like, let's hope it's good. And then it slowly started to, like, they started to creep out more trailers, and people started talking about it less. And then I don't think any of the actors did any press for it, which is
think
a
so.
very bad sign.
Well, I think
and then it just kind of snuck on in and out of there.
I think what's his face did.
Jack Black.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin fucking Hart.
Kevin Hart is perpetually in terrible films. So
Yeah. And he's occasionally in good ones.
occasionally, but
I mean, at
it's
least
usually
the Jumanji films are pretty decent.
Jumanji films are fun, but not because of him.
No.
Mainly because of the writing.
Yeah. And the cast does a good job at playing each other. It's just always fun to see.
Borderlands has a 10% from critics.
Here's something interesting that I'm reading on Wikipedia about Sergeant Donnie Donowitz, the Bear Jew.
Yeah.
Is that he is the father of film producer Lee Donowitz, played by Saul Rubinek in the movie True Romance. Donnie is the father of Tarantino-created film producer Lee Donowitz, Saul Rubinek, who appeared in True Romance. He decided
I
to
see what we're doing.
put a family together in his own sort of Tarantino
This is the
way.
Tarantino world.
In the Tarantino verse, yes.
So his son
is film producer. I've never seen True Romance, so I could not tell you who film producer Lee Donowitz is, but apparently he is the son of the Bear Jew.
Next, we have Melanie Laurent. I don't know if that's how you say her name, but
Melanie Laurent.
Laurent.
Melanie Laurent.
She's a French actress. I don't know her very well because she's a French actress. Not that I don't watch French films, but well,
I don't.
She plays Emmanuelle.
Or Shoshana.
Shoshana is her Jewish name, and Emmanuelle is her French name. When she's hiding from the Nazis, I really like her character in this. I mean, she's essentially our heroine. Of course, because Brad Pitt's such a big actor, he seems like he's like the main guy.
Well, he's the top billed, but he's not the main character.
No, and he's not in the movie that much either.
If anything, I think that Shoshana and Christoph Waltz are the main characters.
Like
it's their film.
Yeah, their back and forth in the restaurant was fantastic. Well, it was one-sided. She's in the scene, but it's all Christoph Waltz because
shit and bricks.
Every scene that he's in, it's a Christoph Waltz scene. I mean, him at the beginning in the cottage, the milk farms cottage where he's looking for the Jews who are hiding under the floorboards. That whole scene.
Jesus, it's just one panic attack after another.
The way it was shot, though, like just the one shots that they do, the slow panning. There's nobody else in the scene.
It's a very Tarantino film.
But yeah, that dread that you start feeling because
and never stop feeling.
Yeah, I mean the whole movie's pretty good at keeping the tension up the whole time.
Yeah, basically up until a very explosive ending. It's just rife with dread and anxiety, the entire film. Like, the conversations are great. She was also in a movie called Operation Finale, which is a movie about a group of, I think they're Israeli soldiers who go after, a team of secret agents set out to track down a Nazi officer who masterminded the Holocaust and escaped away. But it stars Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley, and he was in that. I watched that movie one night. It was a very good film. I probably won't ever watch it again. But, yeah, I don't remember her in it. I remember Oscar Isaac, and I remember Nick Kroll, who's also randomly in it. In that sort of way that you're like, huh, somebody tried to do something different. Not that it was bad, but, it's always just funny when you're like, Nick Kroll's in a drama. That's weird.
Next, we've got Christoph Waltz.
Who fucking killed it.
Amazing in this movie. The guy's been an actor since the 70s. German films, of course, German TV shows. Did a lot of his early work there. Of course, that's definitely a country whose movies I have not really.
No, I can't say I've seen a lot of German cinema, but I'm never unhappy to see Christoph Waltz in anything.
Anytime he pops up, even if it's a movie like The Green Hornet, it's still fun that he's there. He was also Blofeld in Spectre,
and in Alita: Battle Angel.
Actually, I like his character in Alita: Battle Angel. The movie sucked, but he's still this. You think of him as just this scientist who wouldn't be able to defend himself, and then you find out like he's this giant hammer swinging hunter.
That's hot.
Guy that kills cyborgs, something like that. A lot of his acting now I don't know if it was because we got too much of him, and he kept playing the same parts, kind of the way Giancarlo Esposito's been doing, and I hope both of them come back.
Maybe we need to see them in a rom-com with each other.
With each other?
Yeah.
I'd watch. I mean, of course I'd watch it. They could play two gay guys who are like, will they, won't they kind of relationship.
Who are also, one of them's the secret agent and one of them's the bad guy, and they've been fighting their whole lives, but ultimately it's just comes down to the fact that they love each other too much. I'd watch that.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Yeah.
Let's make it.
Hollywood, make it happen. We know you're listening.
Michael Fassbender has a short part in this movie.
Oh, the Fassbender.
And I'm pretty sure before this movie, I think I had only seen him in 300.
And Band of Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got such a small...
I mean, everybody is in Band of Brothers, and everybody has a teeny part.
Every actor, any English actors, especially in Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
But
every young actor was in Band of Brothers, including David Schwimmer.
When you go back and you're like, oh, Fassbender.
Baby Fassbender.
Fun, even though he's got a really short scene. But he does get to do some acting with Mike Myers. And then later
Mike Myers ruined this movie for me.
You think so?
Like, it didn't, like, I shouldn't say ruined. That's pretty large.
I mean, his
hyperbole.
accent's not the best.
But as soon as I see him, I'm like, no, well, taken out of it. Same with Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, having Mike Myers in there playing that character, telling Queen what he thinks about the song Bohemian Rhapsody was just sort of like, I know it was a nudge, nudge, wink, wink to the audience and the Wayne's World fans, but the second he starts talking with that ridiculous accent of his, taken right out. Just right out.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, he's fucking Wayne and Shrek, and he's fucking Mike Myers. Like, yeah, like, I know that that's Brad Pitt, and yeah, I know that that's Christoph Waltz, and I like Fassbender, of course, but it's Mike fucking Myers. And seeing him there just made me go, oh, well, now I'm watching a movie, right? Like, it just took me right out of the film. But, you know, Michael Fassbender is hot, so...
He sure is. Another one you like is Daniel Bruhl.
Daniel Bruhl, I love him so much because I love Baron Zemo so fucking much. He is sweet, soft boy who has done several bad things in his life. So many. But somehow I've forgiven all of them. Even his whole tearing apart the Avengers. Don't care. He dances. It makes me happy. I love Daniel Bruhl. And he's just so hot. God, that guy is one spicy Frankfurter. I
haven't seen a lot of Daniel Bruhl movies.
Again, a lot of German films. Oh my God, you pull up Daniel Bruhl and it immediately shows Bucky and Sam together. Babies. Sorry. Not sorry.
Maybe one movie that maybe some people have or haven't seen, but I really enjoyed was with Chris. I
didn't actually see that.
With Chris Hemsworth, based off of a true story, Formula One racing. James Hunt versus Niki Lauda. Daniel Bruhl played Niki Lauda. Yeah, it's a fun race car movie. It's definitely better than Ferrari.
Oh, well, Ferrari was...
Not Ford versus Ferrari, because that's a good movie.
Ford versus Ferrari was fun.
But
Ferrari with Adam Driver,
is
a tough watch.
It is.
That movie was hard to get through. There were parts that I was entertained by, but they weren't a lot of parts.
Which
Adam Driver sure has made some choices.
As a Michael Mann fan.
You know, sometimes people peak and then they keep trying. Maybe you and I need to get into German cinema a little bit more. I could work on my German.
Sure.
While watching it, because, you know, occasionally it helps. I heard good things about the Karl Lagerfeld series that he was in. I also heard really good things about All Quiet on the Western Front. But
actually, that is a movie that I keep wanting to watch, but not being in the mood to watch.
That's a heavy film.
From what I've heard, it's like you take 1917 and just make it more violent.
Ugh. Yeah, no, have fun with that one without me. I won't be enjoying it, but I will be watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier again on repeat until I die.
Well, somebody that you know from a King Arthur story.
Yeah, Till Schweiger.
Who plays Stiglitz.
You know, it was funny. I while watching the film, I was like, he looks very familiar to me. And
Yeah, shave his head, give him a bigger beard.
The second that I pulled up IMDb, I was like, oh, yep, King Arthur. That's where I know him from. He plays the bad guy's son. He plays Stalin Skarsgård's son.
Yes.
He is like one of the
second in command,
invading,
essentially.
like Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Norwegian.
No, I think they're like proper Vikings. I don't even remember if they ever say where they're from. They're just,
The men of the North.
Hessians. I love that King Arthur, which came out in 2003, 4, with Clive Owen, Keira Knightley, and Yolan Griffiths so goddamn much. That is one of my films that, like, I will defend on my tiny little hill that I'm dying on forever. I fucking love that movie. Slaps. The soundtrack slaps. The acting's great. The story's incredible. I'd watch it right now, and I love that movie so much.
He's also in SLC Punk with Matthew Lillard.
Which I think I saw once when I was a teenager.
I saw it it was like one of those movies
It's one of those movies that people were like, "Oh my god, you haven't seen SLC Punk?"
Yeah.
Like, oh, especially because I knew a lot of Mormons.
I was in.
up.
I think I watched it when I was in. I think high school.
Yeah, it's definitely that was like a high school movie for me too.
He was also in The Replacement Killers with Chow Yun-fat. If anybody loves Chow Yun-fat movies, watch The Replacement Killers. Oh. It's Caveman?
Well, yeah, because you love those movies. If anybody loves them, it's you.
Oh. I'm not the only person who likes these movies.
I know.
Madam.
BJ Novak is also in this movie, which is interesting because...
He comes out of nowhere.
He kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's hard for me not to see him as anything but BJ Novak. Like, I can't look at that man and see him as anything else but Ryan from The Office and or just himself.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but also just like, well, sometimes people just get, typecast to an extent. And
I don't know what his typecasting is for being in this movie.
He's BJ Novak. I don't know. Like, I can see that at the time when this film
came out. A very
came out.
average-looking Jewish man for the end of this movie.
Yeah,
to be with Brad Pitt.
Kind of cute and a little funny and who's charming, right? But I feel like that was at the time when BJ Novak was trying to like expand his career outside of comedies. But unfortunately, I think that it just didn't work because he's just BJ Novak. Like, I can't see him as anything else. If he's not with Mindy Kaling, like, what's the point? Why are we even here? What are we even doing? Another guy who's in this movie is a man named Omar
Doom.
And he's quite cute, but he's been in a lot of other Tarantino stuff, including Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was in Grindhouse and Death Proof.
The fact that he's been in that many Tarantino films, but I've never heard of him.
Yeah, well, he hasn't done a lot else other than that. I mean, Grindhouse was his first project. And his most recent was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But, maybe he's a friend of Tarantino's but he's one of the guys who at the end is also killing, he's the one that kills Joseph Goebbels, whatever the fuck his name is, nobody cares.
Oh, is he the guy who does a terrible Italian accent?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's just there, but I don't know, he's cute.
Yeah, it's essentially our main performers.
It's a solid cast.
Oh yeah,
sure.
no,
like,
everybody brings it.
Nobody's unwatchable.
I'm like the scene in the bar. Mm-hmm. Everybody in that scene, not just our characters, but the Nazi officer that's talking to them, the Nazi or not Nazi, but the German soldiers who are there celebrating the birth of one of their sons.
Mm-hmm. No, they were Nazis too.
Were they Nazis or were they German soldiers?
I think at that time, if you're a German soldier, you were a Nazi.
You're considered, but that's...
Whether or not you actually believed in it.
Yeah, or if you're just, I need to fight for the motherland.
Which kind of makes you a Nazi. I mean, I don't know German World War II history as well as I should, but I mean,
I do know...
At this point, looking back at it now, I feel like if you fought for Germany, you were a Nazi.
I do know now, many of them were
normal people
people forced to
for
fight a
forced to be
war
part
that they
of-
didn't want to, or just fight because it was their country fighting for their
Do
country.
we know that for sure, or
whether
was that
whether or not they believed in the Nazi propaganda from top to bottom as much as a lot of the officers and high-ranking officials of the Nazi Party?
Yeah.
That's...
I don't know. Anymore, I feel like if you fought for them, you were one of them. I'm not going to be like, well, not every single. I'm not gonna butt all sides.
It's very similar.
Nazis.
It's very similar to like that scene in Band of Brothers where they find the internment camp.
Yeah.
And they're the people who lived in the town knew what was happening.
Yes.
Maybe not the details of what was happening, but they knew
what was happening.
There was a smell.
Yeah.
There was noise.
They knew there was a death camp.
They knew there was a death camp. And so, were they Nazis? No. Were they complacent with their country's decisions and just let it happen? Yes.
Yeah, which makes them Nazis.
Which the next scene when you see the rich, or formerly rich lady.
Yeah, but she was a Nazi because
her husband was a Nazi officer.
Which I'm sorry, like.
Well, yes.
Sexually transmitted Nazism, like it makes you a Nazi. You know, if you're a good wife, you believe in what your husband believes in, caveman, and not that I'm calling you a Nazi, his eyes just turned into dinner plates.
Wait a minute, what are you confusing
but I'm saying,
me over here?
As a good wife, I believe in what you believe in, and especially as a military wife. Like, bitch was a Nazi, and you know,
she was, yes,
yeah.
But there were other people in that town too.
Yeah.
Other than.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, on the one hand, you can't say anything because you're going to get shot, right? If you are complacent, you are complicit.
So when Tarantino first started writing Inglourious Basterds, first of all, it took him over 10 years to write. He would be writing a bunch of the script, kind of have writer's block for the ending, and he was discovering that he felt that it was some of his best writing he'd ever done in the moment. But even then, he just couldn't come up with an ending, so he put it away and went and made Kill Bill Part 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, he gave a lot of the attributes of the original Shoshana to the bride. And then when he came back and retooled the movie, he, changed her character.
Which I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that when we do Kill Bill, but Uma Thurman also had a big part in writing a lot of Kill along with Tarantino. So after Kill Bill, he went back to write another draft of it and had considered making it a mini-series. And then, of all people, Luc Besson, famous French director who...
The Professional.
Yes. Love Leon, The Professional. Then you have, The Messenger. Did you ever see The Messenger, the Joan of Arc story with Lila Sobieski, whatever her name is?
Might have forever
I watched
ago.
it once. I think it was like...
But, that was a movie that was, either we got it, Hollywood Video or on Netflix when they sent out the DVD. One of those things they were like, no, I'd watch it. But it was forever ago.
And then, of course, he's famous for The Fifth Element. Mm-hmm. And I know nobody likes this movie except for me, but Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Nobody likes that movie.
No, I am the only one in the world.
If it has one fan, it's you.
It's me. I go to I'm part of the fan club, and we meet once a year.
In our own bedroom?
Yeah. When I watch the movie by myself.
If you, too, would like to join Caveman in the...
if you would like to join
Valerian
my Valerian City of a Thousand Planets fan club, write us at movieminglepod@gmail.com and join the fan club. Fan club of 1.
Oh, boy. Maybe one day a fan club of 2, because it's sure not going to be me.
It's not going to be you.
No. I cannot stand Dane DeLane and what's-her-face that's in it.
No, I know you can't.
Both of their faces make me angry, so I just can't do it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force you to ever
and I
watch that
appreciate
movie.
Unless it's for the content. God, maybe that's it.
No.
Maybe that's what the season 2 of this podcast is you making me watch movies that I don't want to watch and me making you watch movies that... No, I don't have any movies you don't want to watch. See, it'd be so unfair to me.
Yeah, it would be so one-sided.
Unfair.
It'd be so one-sided.
Yeah.
I'd be like, now you got to watch this one. You'd be like,
fuck.
why am I watching this dumb movie?
You know what? No. Podcast canceled. Done.
We're going to watch Holy Mountain today.
I will literally burn this podcast to the ground instead of watching Holy Mountain, sir.
It's another movie that I need more people to watch with me.
But that's got fans.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I have people. I have coworkers that I can talk to about it at work.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Long story short now, Luc Besson convinced Tarantino to finish it as a film and not as a miniseries. So he trimmed the script. He actually used, he had his script for Pulp Fiction, and he used it as a guide to figure out the length of the film. I don't know what the time difference is between Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Basterds, but he used the script as like a template to figure out the pacing and the overall length of the movie.
Interesting.
Which Inglourious Basterds goes in a very linear direction. It's very easy to follow. It doesn't jump around. It skips forward in time a little bit, but not so much that it's confusing or anything. His revised premise for his new movie focused on a group of soldiers who escaped from their executions and embarked on a mission to help allies. So that was his main idea when he was making this. And plus, at the time, a bunch of people were making World War II movies. And so this was his, like, I'm going to be different. It's also based, there is a movie back in the 70s called The Inglourious Basterds, and which is one reason why this Inglourious Basterds is not spelled correctly. Inglorious has an extra U, which I don't know if that's a
British thing
or not, and then Bastards is spelled with an E.
Well, according to IMDb. When asked about the misspelled title, writer and director Quentin Tarantino gave the following answer. Here's the thing, man. I'm never going to have to explain that. You do an artistic flourish like that, and to explain it would just take the piss out of it, right? And invalidate the whole stroke in the first place. That is my terrible Tarantino
So
accent.
either when he was writing the script, he misspelled it,
Yeah.
and that's his excuse, or he wanted to differentiate himself from the Italian movie that came out in the 70s.
Caveman, why does Tarantino do anything that Tarantino does?
Because he wants to.
Because he's Tarantino.
And he doesn't want to give a reason.
No.
He's like,
and
I want to do this.
I am Tarantino and I do this. And we all go, all
Okay.
right. Yeah. One thing I didn't do while watching this film was count how many times we saw a bare foot, but it is not often.
It is not often in this
It's
one.
really just when Diane Kruger's character is getting murdered.
Yes, when she...
And then it's just like a fucking foot right in your goddamn face for a minute.
Isn't there a foot too in the pet hospital?
Oh, maybe. I guess
Which
you
is
could
not
see her foot. I just remember it very vividly when she's being... The vet?
Yes, the vet. I was like, what is it? The pet hospital.
Pet hospital.
Pet hospital.
Which is funny because that rhymes with vet.
Vet. Vet, pet.
Anyways, Tarantino's just fucking Tarantino, man. Like, he does
I get it.
whatever he's going to do, and we love him for it.
Did you know that Leonardo DiCaprio was originally considered for the part of Hans Landa?
I did not know that. I mean, actually, I found that out about 30 seconds ago. But
it would have been interesting to hear him
it would have been.
Try German.
It would have been even more funny than in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when he, is McCluskey killing all the Nazis with a flamethrower. If he had have been one of the, one of the said Nazis. I'm glad it wasn't him, though. I'm really glad that it was Chris. Because I feel like, I don't think that in, 2009, so 2008 when the film would have been made, or then thereabouts, that Leonardo DiCaprio had the gravitas to play such a role. I could see that, they were originally I think Leonardo DiCaprio could do this. Yeah, let's see if he could do this. But I'm glad that eventually they're this role needs to be played by an older German man.
Would he have done it in English the whole time with a German accent? Would he have learned all the German lines
and
tried
French
to master
and
an
Italian.
accent? That's true.
I mean, Lando speaks 4 languages.
Christoph Waltz does a spectacular job of each language.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're going to have somebody speak so much German,
How's a fucking German?
get a German actor.
Like, what, I adore Leonardo DiCaprio, of course, as an actor.
Oh, and
I
he
love
can
what
do
he does.
so much.
Oh yeah, he can do anything, but I don't think he could play this role now. He's a little, I feel like this role needs to be played by somebody who is at least in their 40s, right? Like, you look at that character and what he is and what he's been able to accomplish, and you're like, that can't be a 20-year-old. It can't be a 30-year-old. That's got to be a man at least in his early to mid 40s who's got some life experience under his belt to sell the gravitas of the role. So, yeah, I mean, he would have done fine, but it probably would have just been fine.
Another person that I am shocked would even be considered to play the Bear Jew was Adam Sandler. Was talked to about playing the Bear Jew.
That would have been
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I've seen Adam Sandler do some great acting.
Yeah, Punch Drunk Love is a favorite film of mine. I haven't
Uncut
seen it in
Gems
years,
is amazing.
but
But
I could not imagine him wielding a baseball bat and killing a bunch of Nazis, because Kevin James would be right there beside him.
oh god.
Like, would I watch the Inglourious Basterds remake of Adam Sandler and all of his cronies? So, like, fucking Kevin James and Rob Schneider and all those other assholes? Yes. Would I watch it just to see how bad it is? Absolutely. But it would have been awful.
I don't think I would ever say this before, but we can thank the movie Funny People for causing a scheduling conflict for Adam Sandler.
Well, thank God, because that movie was terrible also.
That movie was also terrible, but I will thank it for keeping Adam Sandler out of this movie. And then also, before they cast Michael Fassbender, they talked to Simon Pegg to play that role.
Simon Pegg was supposed to play the
Simon
Fassbender?
Pegg was supposed to play the Fassbender role. Once again, Fassbender plays a great German.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Because he's German.
And
Irish. So he can be both British and German.
So
I could see it, but I'm glad it didn't happen.
Fassbender was perfect.
This movie's been out for so long that how do you not know anybody but Fassbender is the role? But, like, Simon Pegg's decent.
So we can thank Adventures of Tintin.
Oh boy.
For keeping Simon Pegg out of this one.
Another horrible movie. A lot of horrible movies made this movie better.
So Inglourious Basterds is very slightly based off of the Italian movie, The Inglourious Basterds. Tarantino says that it wasn't a direct influence, and this is in no way a remake of the Italian film. I mean, the Italian film alone was a loose remake of The Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen with Ernest Borgnine, Charles Bronson, those.
Which in itself is a remake of Seven Samurai. Oh no, you're right. That's Dirty Dozen's different. That's Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent
Sorry,
Seven. That's all right.
I was blanking out when you actually read me that information. Wow, see how easily it is to get things wrong on here? And we put it out there into the internet and be like, listen to us.
The Dirty Dozen is based off of a real life World War II unit of specialists from the 101st Airborne Division named the Filthy 13.
Huh.
So in a way, this movie is based off of real people.
But unfortunately,
not really.
Not real history.
Not real history, and not directly. I did really enjoy hearing Samuel L. Jackson. You can't get Samuel L. Jackson in every single Tarantino film.
But you still get a classic Tarantino voiceover.
Voiceover, like random narration.
Yeah, completely random. While
for only a
slightly
certain
unnecessary.
part.
Yeah.
Not the whole movie, just a certain part, little exposition. But nobody complains because it's Samuel L. Jackson just being in a Tarantino film one way or another. I loved hearing it.
Yeah, no, I wrote down a classic Tarantino VO there. I also love that Harvey Keitel has a tiny part in it because of course he had to.
Of course. Just over the phone, right?
Yeah,
you never see him.
You never see his face. You just hear his voice. So I admit that I did find this movie a little bit hard to watch, just because it's hard to imagine. And obviously, I know that people do think this way still, which is probably the part that upsets me the most. But the fact that people could ever, look at another religion or race of people and consider them subhuman, it's one of the reasons why I don't watch a lot of, I guess you could say, German point of view films. Not that there are a lot of German point of view films. I guess there are about like World War II and the Holocaust, but it's hard to stomach that sort of attitude towards your fellow human beings. But it's still happening today. It's everywhere in this world, and it's very notable right now in the Middle East. And it's very hard to it's just hard to stomach sometimes. I didn't exactly go into this movie. I went into this movie being like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch it again. And then as it unfolded, I was like, oh boy. It's kind of hard to root for any of these people at the moment. But I loved the idea that, that Brad Pitt's character has to an extent, obviously, that then Tarantino had, is that these people after World War II, if they didn't die and if they didn't end up in jail, they got to take off their uniforms and go about their lives as if nothing happened. And then they got to, kind of retcon their reasonings for being in the war in the first place, right? Oh, well, I was forced to do it. I didn't believe what the Nazis believed. But, you don't know for sure if your papa is telling you that for real or not. It's a lot of people were able to, justify and reason their why they were soldiers in that war in the first place when it came to being on the wrong side. And I liked the idea that, Aldo was like, fuck that. I'm going to carve a swastika into your head so that everybody knows.
Everybody will know for the rest of your life.
Everybody will know for the rest of your life. You can do what, sure, they could wear hats or grow bangs, but, you take a hat off at the wrong time and whoop, there's a giant...
Wow, why is there a giant swastika carved into your forehead?
Christoph Waltz's character really thought that he was getting away with it. He had done all these terrible things, but he was like, no, you know what? I'm going to give you Hitler, and I'm going to give you Goebbels, and I'm going to give you all the rest of the people, and you're going to be able to kill them all. And I'm going to be like, well, I helped you do that, because I don't believe what they believe, except he totally did.
Yeah.
He tried to himself retcon, why, his actions in the war, and Brad Pitt's like, fuck that. Just fucking carved giants. And it's so hard to stomach watching that because it looks so realistic of the night. Obviously they used special effects.
Well, I'm sure the forehead,
the prop effects. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the forehead's not even really. Christoph Waltz is not there.
No, of course not. Or even if it was probably a fake forehead and a fake knife, right? But it looked so real, and it was so gratifying to see that you almost kind of wish that all Nazis had that carved into their heads. Yeah. Still. Although some people would wear it with a badge of honor, because there's still some people that get swastika tattoos, which, what the fuck?
They do.
What the fuck? But yeah, it's, I don't know, this movie made me anxious the entire time, and I enjoyed watching it, but this is definitely not going to be one of those Tarantino movies that I go back and rewatch. Interestingly enough, my mom loves this movie, and there was a time where, and I can't tell you why. It could have been because it was probably because we bought the DVD and it came with a free download. But there was a time where I had this movie and Star Trek and a couple other films on my iTunes account, way back in the beginning when iTunes was just beginning. And then my mom was able to watch it on her computer because it was connected to my account. And she told me once that she will fall asleep to Inglourious Basterds most nights. And I was like, really, Mom? And she was like, yeah, I fucking love that movie. It's great. And I was like, really? Have you watched Star Trek? She's like, yeah, Star Trek's good, but I really love Inglourious Basterds. And I'm like, really, Mom? But yeah, this is, at least at a point, this was one of my mom's most favorite films.
There's a scene, well, there's a bunch of really good scenes in this movie. We talked about the opening shot at the dairy farm.
Yeah, that whole sequence unto itself is, that got Christoph Waltz his Oscar. Even if the rest of it didn't, that fucking did.
Well, and then you have the diner scene with Goebbels and the translator, and then later Daniel Bruhl's character's there, and then later Christoph Waltz walks in, and another just amazing dialogue scene. And then there's the bar tavern scene is just so much fun to just sit down and just listen to dialogue and just people, one group of people playing a game, another group of people having a conversation while having some whiskey, which that scene reminded me a lot of what Hateful Eight is, of just conversations inside of a small space.
Are they also very anxious and tense conversations?
Not all of, well, I mean, they end up turning into that, but not every conversation is as tense as it was in this movie.
Yeah, because this movie is tense.
But one of my favorite kind of camera movement moments was when you start on the actress Bridget von Hammersmark up at the top, when they're in the theater. It's the night of the nation's pride is showing. Anybody has shown up, and it starts with the camera on her, and it's all one shot of it going down, and you see, I think the bastards walk in, and then it goes back up, passes a fan. There's fans on the ceiling spinning, and anytime the camera passes one of the fans, you just hear whoop, 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 whoop. And I don't know, it's a really neat one shot they do with that.
I think it's clever too, if you think about it, that Shoshana has Shoshana, the British slash the Allies, and I guess, well, no, I guess it's just that Shoshana and the British Allies all have the same idea of like, all these people are going to be in the same building together. Let's fucking blow it up, right?
Yeah.
But Shoshana's the one who has it not only quietly, right? Like it's just between her and her, very handsome lover. And she's the one that actually gets it done.
Yeah.
Like, she knows she's going to die there. He knows he's going to die there. They both accept it. Obviously, like Daniel Bruhl kind of puts a bit of a chink in the armor, but they're the ones that successfully take care of it, right? And the bastards are there to get their own job done, and gleefully and joyfully, murder Hitler's face. So satisfying. So fucking satisfying.
Like if an explosion, not an explosion, if a massive fire from behind the screen and
a bunch of insanely flammable stuff
and locked doors isn't enough. Now let's just fire machine guns into the crowd and then blow everything up. I
think the like special booth that Hitler and Goebbels were in, Goebbels, whatever the fuck, who fucking cares? That guy can rot in hell. I think they could have gotten out because it led to, that was a separate hallway.
Well, the doors were locked.
But that led out into the lobby. Were the front lobby doors locked?
I think everything was locked.
No, either way, it was fucking satisfying. And, like Shoshana ultimately got what she wanted. All those people died at the hands of a Jew.
Yep.
And, the violence, much like Tarantino's violence when it comes to his talkie films, right? Because the violence of Kill Bill is vast, and all Tarantino violence is quick and fucking ruthless and glorifying and satisfying and terrible and awesome. But like in Kill Bill 1 you see it a lot. In this movie you see it very little, and watching it at the end is just fucking rocks. It's just so satisfying watching all those people get murdered to the face. I like it.
Gideon Burkhardt, who played, I think, Corporal Wilhelm Wicke, who was in the tavern with the bastards. He is one of the bastards, dressed up as a German officer with Michael Fassbender. I laughed when he died, only because when he died he yelled out And it was just a regular yell from him. It wasn't anything special. But essentially, his character's name's Wilhelm. So Wilhelm screamed. Made me laugh. But
Settle down there.
But then, there were 2 actual Wilhelm screams in Nation's Pride.
Remind me again what that sounds like? There it is. Oh, so satisfying. God, I love the Wilhelm. Every time I hear it,
I always
it
think of
makes me
Germans
tickle.
dying when I hear that because some of the earliest stuff I remember it coming from was Indiana Jones and Star Wars, of which I the bad guys in both of those are essentially Nazis.
Yeah, even though they're the Empire's Nazis. Like, fucking
No, that's
Yeah.
Star Wars. Yeah,
Goddamn.
of course
Yep.
it was.
But oh god, Star Wars is woke now. It wasn't always. Yes, it fucking was. They blew up Nazis. God damn it. And if killing Nazis is good enough for my great uncle, it's good enough for me. God damn it. Like, my grandpa couldn't be in the war because he was a 4F, but due to a broken arm in his childhood. But, in his childhood, I should say. But, like, fucking, if it was good enough for the greatest generation, god damn it, it's good enough for me. Like, if you remember, I guess this was kind of around the same time, when they were like, there was specifically one guy, in either Chicago or New York, but he was like, head to tail, modern Nazi wear, sprouting his Nazi nonsense, and he got punched in the face on the street, and then he was all like sad about it. He's like, oh, this man assaults me, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was like, you see a Nazi, you punch him in the fucking face. It's what Indiana Jones would have done, god damn it, and that's what the rest of us should do. You punch a Nazi in the fucking face.
See a Nazi, punch a Nazi.
See a Nazi, punch a Nazi.
So, Maggie, what would you give Inglourious Basterds out of 5 stars?
Well, as previously stated, it's not my favorite Tarantino film, and it is a hard watch for me at the moment, just because of everything that's going on in the world. But it's still a great fucking movie. I'd give it a 4.
Same.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. 4, solid 4 movie.
Yeah. I can't think of any Tarantino film that would be in a 3 category. Because even if I don't like them, I still have to appreciate what a fucking incredible filmmaker Tarantino is. But, this movie is beautifully shot. It's incredibly acted. It's well written. It's, I like watching Hitler get fucking punched to the face with a bunch of bullets. So yeah, 4 easily. What about you, Caveman? Yeah, you already said it 4.
I did, but yeah, absolutely 4. I mean, great acting from everybody. Great dialogue, which is one of my favorite things about Tarantino.
Oh, it's so fucking tense. The dialogue in this movie is having sex while camping because it's fucking intense. Like, it just makes me so anxious. Oh, I broke Caveman, everybody. Have you never heard that before?
Fucking intense.
Have you
Oh
never
my
heard that
god.
phrase before?
No, that was a new one for me.
You're welcome. I love you. But yeah, good job, Tarantino. Kill those Nazis.
So, Maggie,
Yes, Caveman.
I have 2 questions for you.
Hit it.
Avatars, blue people, love that film.
By Avatar.
You mean that?
What I mean.
Anime.
Oh my god. Stephen Grant, you are the most perfect person on this planet, and I love you. I love you so... Play it again. I love you so much.
Avatars, blue people, love that film.
By Avatar.
You mean that?
What I mean.
Anime.
It's funny, I haven't seen either one of those avatars, but I fucking love Stephen Grant. Sweet, sweet soft boy. So much.
And of course, that was from...
Moon Knight. I need to watch that again. Shockingly, it's shocking to me most of all that Oscar Isaac is in the MCU in such a fantastic thing as Moon Knight, and I've only ever watched it twice. I've watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier roughly 7 times.
Jesus.
And, like, because it's perfect. But I mean, my beloved is in the MCU as my beloveds. And I'll just have to start watching it again. It's just so fucking good, and he's so fucking cute.
So, Maggie, would the presence of Oscar Isaac have made Inglourious Basterds a better film?
I don't think it would have made it a better film. It wouldn't have made it a worse film, but I don't think it would have improved upon it at all. I mean, like, I hate to say, like, yeah, it would have been fun to have him in there, but he didn't need to be. Like, I don't think it's necessary that Oscar Isaac be in this film, because I kind of can't imagine replacing him with anybody. So, your next question being...
What character would Oscar Isaac have played?
Well, he has played a Jewish man hunting down Nazis before in Operation Finale, so I guess he could have been any one of the bastards. I love him to death, but he is small man, so he could not have played the Bear Jew, but maybe he could have been BJ Novak's character, or Omar Doom's character, who speaks no Italian, but gets to murder a bunch of Nazis with a machine gun.
Omar Doom's not a bad choice, but
that's,
I was thinking BJ Novak's.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess in 2009 he could have played young the way BJ Novak played, but I would almost prefer him as the Omar Doom character. Just because at least watching him in a tuxedo trying to speak Italian and then killing Nazis to the face would have made me so happy. So yeah, I would have enjoyed that thoroughly. I love him so much. He's just so pretty. Have you seen his jawline? That was this week's episode of Movie Mingle on Inglourious Basterds. Then we hope that you enjoyed listening to it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. As ever, please rate us on your podcast platform of choice. Throw us 5 stars, whatever we deserve. We appreciate all of you wonderful fans for sticking with us for nearly 40 episodes. Next week, we will be bringing you Toy Story 3, which is our 40th episode. And honestly, the fact that we've knocked out 40 is pretty fucking amazing. And then you add in all the bonus episodes and little things we've done for you. We're closer to 50, and it's really cool that you've stuck along. So thanks so much, my darlings. You can always find us on Letterboxd, Instagram, and Threads at movieminglepod. You can write us at movieminglepod@gmail.com. Take care of yourselves, friends. Thank you so much for listening. Go out, have fun, punch a fucking Nazi, and go mingle. Bye!
Are you an effective team?
We are an effective team.
Let them fight.
How did you just do that?
I'm a really good lawyer. Here on Caladan, we've ruled by air power and sea power. On Arrakis, we need to cultivate desert power.
Welcome, Mr. Beach. What's that bone? I'm a little confused.
Well, we wouldn't want that, would we?
I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers?
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
What is that?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Toga, toga, toga.